Hello, hello, my happy stitchers! Alright, I am still pulling up the chat. Give me a second because it doesn't let me do this until after. I want to make sure I get the right one. Alright, we are getting connected. I'm double checking all my settings. We are good to go. I've got the chat open. Guys, if you are new here, this is Genetics Creations. My name is Jen. This channel is dedicated towards all of my creations and then hopefully me teaching you guys all how to make them. So if you guys are here for free, live crochet classes, you are in the right place. I teach weekly, once a week, and I am here for all of your yarn, needle, hook, stitch questions. Hopefully I have the answers. So today we are going to be practicing the cat stitch. One of my students, Lorraine, if you're out there, hopefully you'll be joining us because you requested it. But if not, as always, all of my classes are saved in the Get Hooked playlist. And this video should redirect you once the settings let me update it to that playlist so you guys can catch up on all of the free classes that I offer, and you'll even get to hear some of the questions that other people have asked and find your answers and hopefully get stitching. So, excuse me. Today we're going to be doing the cast stitch. A few things that you guys should be grabbing while I go through all of the info stuff is going to be a few different colors. I recommend a few contrasting colors. I kind of played with some Eastery vibes. This is what I'm going to be working with today, which is pretty much going to show up as you see it here. So if you guys want to, I'm going to throw in a variegated one this time. I know I already practiced a few swatches, but I'm going to throw in one of these just to kind of see what it looks like in a variegated yarn. But we're just going to be making swatches. I'm not going to be taking you through an entire project per se, but definitely you will walk away being able to take this stitch and make it your own. So if you guys end up wanting to make blankets or scarves out of it, to each their own. I'm going to show you what a few other people have done with it as well. So what other things will you need? I think I'm going to be going with this hook. If you guys don't know what crochet hooks to start with, I recommend Susan Bates. There's a few people out there that are going to say no, Susan Bates can split yarn. So if you're working with cotton yarn or there's a lot of open yarns that aren't spun or unspun yarn. I know I hear it a lot of different ways. Raw yarn, anything like that. Some of that the Susan Bates can split if you're not super on it. That is where this other style hook, and this is a really big hook, but I hope it's easier for you to see. That's where this other style hook can come into play. I've heard this can be more beginner friendly. This, if you are searching, it's usually the shape hook you're going to find on places like Amazon and whatnot. It's B-O-Y-E, boy, I don't know what it's pronounced, but that is a great option. You'll notice everything is just a little bit more curved, which is why it doesn't split the yarn as much. However, I feel like if you guys can kind of see the difference, the hook is a little less deep, so it can make it hard to hold the yarn, and I always find as I'm getting my rhythm, I drop my stitches or I drop the yarn more often. So I recommend Susan Bates. I do have a link in the description for this one, and you guys can check it out. This pack has literally lasted me, I want to say, almost my entire life. They haven't changed this pack much over the years, maybe a few different colors, but it's about $8 on Amazon. The links are in the bio. You guys will also need, as you can tell, when we're done doing everything, you're going to have all these leftovers, and you're going to want to weave those in. There's partly why, if you guys have ever noticed, anyone out there that changes colors a lot in their projects, they usually do an upcharge, because every time you color change, it creates a lot of these, and if you're not really good at crocheting those in as you go, which I am going to try to do today. No, I don't think I can. Not with this type stitch. Anyway, I'll walk you through how to fasten in these ends, or weave them in, as it would be called in a pattern. But this is why whenever you do multiple color changing, it's a good, bad, and ugly. It's awesome because you have different colors and you can really vibe and create some custom pieces. It also kind of stinks because at the end, everyone gets project fatigue and they never want to weave these in. But it will help. It will go faster if you have yarn needles. I always recommend the metal ones. I feel like they just do the trick a little bit better. So again, the link for these, I think they were only about $6. That is in the description below. It tends to be the best bang for the buck that I was able to find. I've also heard wool needles are awesome. Definitely want to check those out. So grab your yarn, a few different colors, at least 2, just so you can go back and forth. You don't need a lot. We're just going to do a swatch today. So Lorraine, yay, hi, you made it. Good, I'm so glad, because I was able to figure out the cat stitch and I played around with it yesterday, and we're definitely going to be diving in, and it's fun and it's easy. I think you're going to get it and you're going to love it. I actually want to find out how I can try to shape it into a dog somehow, because for those of us that are dog people, I want a dog stitch. So I'm going to see if anyone's done it, and if they haven't, I'm going to have to play around with that later this weekend. Also, guys, if grab a couple different colors of yarn. Lorraine, I'm just working with a USH 8 5mm hook. As you can see, I'm just working with scrap yarn, so like if you don't have that hook, just grab whatever you feel like it, and scissors and some yarn needles, because we are going to be fastening ends. We are not going to be lazy. We are going to weave these in at the end of this class. But I'm going to walk us through 2 different ways to get this started. Before we dive too much into that, I'll give you guys time to grab your stuff. Few things. Nails of the week. I went through my stash, and this one's a collection. I use Color Street nails because they're like stickers. They go on with no tools. You just file off the excess, and they're dry. I literally did these while I was prepping for class, and so as you can tell, I'm not worried about my nails rubbing or anything. They are already dry. It's real nail polish, but it's dry nail polish, and it's my favorite. This one is Timeless Turquoise with Sahara Jewel. That's that bronze accent nail you've got going on, and I just layer them up, and it's my favorite thing, especially for a crafter that is always doing stuff. This is my jam. That link is in the description as well. I am an independent stylist, so you guys can totally ask me any questions about all of that throughout this live. Let me fix my camera. If you guys are on TikTok, I've actually been working my TikTok more. If you guys want to see more live, I do a lot of the behind the scenes live stuff there. So if you guys want to see more just me working projects that I'm about to sell, or even prepping for class, I tend to go live and try to figure this stuff out. I will tell you, it is not prepped. It is not, it's just literally I'm getting on there and stitching with my homies. So that being said, it is a lot more raw and can be very entertaining. But if you guys are on TikTok, definitely hit me up there. You're going to see a lot more fun stuff and stitching action there. But let's show you guys what I have for you guys. Hold on, and transition. Don't forget the beginner tool. If you guys are new here, this is great. I'm going to do a quick once over. It's free. It's printable. You're going to want it. It has a QR code that takes you to my Etsy store where I sell all of my items as well as my patterns. And if you guys need to get in touch with me, it's the best way to do that because I've got my email link to that as well. But you've also got all this crochet lingo. So if you're new to crochet and you want to play around with different patterns and whatnot, this is going to be a great way for you guys to break down what the heck we are talking about when we say FPDC. You will know that that is a front post double crochet. The language in crochet can get a little overwhelming, and especially when you're reading patterns, it can get extremely wordy. I write patterns, so I know how wordy and gnarly it can get. It's also why I'm a big fan of crochet diagrams. So if you guys have never tried those, this tool will help you get started with crochet diagrams and start gaining the confidence so you guys can actually dive into some of these other things that you see online without always having to find a video or sit through a video or just whatnot. You guys will be able to play around more and really stretch your skills. So definitely take advantage of that. That is in the bio. It is free. Here's some other people that have done the cat stitch just so you guys can see how it looks with some different colors, because I know every yarn is different, and when you guys learn stitches, it can be really like tempting to go to the nearest store and start saying, I'm going to buy this and I'm going to buy that. But then sometimes you get these yarns that don't work out so well, and with yarn being as expensive as it is, you don't want to do that. So as you can tell, most people are doing worsted weight yarn. I don't see any chunky yarn. I don't see any textured yarn, like that really ripply yarn. Not a whole lot of fuzzy yarns being used on this stitch, so you're probably going to want to stick with your basic, I mean, you could probably go DK weight, and you can go lighter weights, but I wouldn't go above a 4. If any of you guys have tried it with a 6 or a 5, let me know. And all these numbers are, if you guys are new to crochet, is the width of the yarn. So when you look at yarn like this is your standard 4. Oh, hello. I'm blocking the screen. Give me a second here. Let me show you guys. Okay. So this is your worsted weight. This is your standard 4. This is like your Red Heart yarn, your Karen yarn. A lot of the yarns you guys are going to find. But when you get into the, let me see. When you get into these bulkier yarns, these are what a lot of people are making plushies out of and stuff like that. You don't want to do every stitch with these yarns. So if you guys are new to yarn selection and stuff like that, feel free to ask me any questions you guys have. These I would not recommend for beginners. They are fun. You make a lot of really dope projects with it, but they are hard to see your stitches, especially on black. Don't get me started. But you are definitely going to struggle with some of these stitches, especially stitches that are supposed to create a certain look. You don't always get the same effect with these yarns that honestly hide the stitch itself. So hopefully that covers a lot of what you guys need to know to get started. We are going to dive in. I'm going to show you guys two different ways. So first of all, I should show you this. Let you guys take a screenshot of this. Give me a second here. We're going to go here. I'm going to pull that back up, make sure I know what I'm doing. If you guys want, I found a diagram, so go ahead and take a screenshot of that. This is the diagram of the cat stitch. So if you're practicing reading diagrams, you guys can take a screenshot, reference this. This is also a really good reminder as you guys leave this class and go and practice it on your own. What the heck did we do? This will be a saving grace. So definitely take your screenshot there. I found that last week, and it was great. I actually ended up doing the wrong stitch when I worked with that. I did like a puff stitch in the middle for that drop down instead of a what's it called? Instead of it's a cluster crochet stitch. So technically what you see is technically incorrect, but it's not going to really matter. I actually love using Premier. Okay, Lorraine, Premier yarn from Dollar Tree. It's not horrible. It's not horrible at all. I actually just bought like 12 skeins last week because I'm going to work on, I want to do some plants, and they had a really good green and a really good brown, and I want to do some crochet plants. So I am totally with you, Lorraine. Use that dollar store yarn. It is fantastic. I'm going to be showing you guys how the diagram reads, which is chains on the bottom. However, I also kind of makeshifted this to get it more solidified. So we're going to try this stitch two different ways. So long story short, if you guys end up joining me too late, this will be for those who come in later. We are going to start again this way with the foundation single crochets. So you're going to learn a few different ways to work this cat stitch. But let's jump in. Hopefully you guys have gotten your yarn by now and you've got your hook and you're ready to go. Let's start. I'm going to start with this fun teal just because I like it. And I'm just picking my colors at random. So grab color A. Like I said, guys, just scrap yarn. You don't need a whole lot. We're just going to do a quick swatch. It's about the size of a really giant coaster is what I'm making. You're going to want to chain multiples of 5. Oh, wow. Let me tangle my yarn first because that is just how today is going to be. So you're going to chain multiples of 5. And that's how we're going to get started. Oh, I guess I should show you guys slip knot. So slip knot, again, guys, you're just twisting the yarn so that it rolls over itself. It's really hard for me to teach something I do with muscle memory. Not going to lie. You're going to put that through, just like you were tying your shoe, but you're just not going to pull that end all the way through. That is how you do a slip knot. I've seen people do it with the hook. There's a lot of different ways. I don't know. What's funny is that a slip knot and a magic circle are about the same. So with how many people struggle with magic circle, I know a million people struggle with slip knot, and I really feel for you guys. All right, so let's get that a little out of screen so we don't have more background. And now we're going to chain that multiple of 5. 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you guys have never chained before, it's yarn over, pull through. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, and you're just going to keep doing that. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I'm using that language because that's how it would be written in a pattern. If you were to look up how to do a chain stitch, the directions would be yarn over, pull through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that we'll do one more set because it does go up a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Get ready, guys. Hold on to your pens. We are going to start this. So let's move this one because we're not doing that version, although it's pretty much the same. Here, if you look at that image that I was showing you, and I'm going to cheat and pull it up on my cell phone so I can just go back and forth, because apparently using modern technology is just going to be more painful for you all. Oops. Alright, so you're not going to be able to see all of it, but when we go here, we've done our chains and we've come up. It's going to tell you to double crochet into the 4th chain right there. So that's what you're seeing right there. So we're going to double crochet. Let's make sure that thing's turned off. We're going to double crochet into the 4th chains. So if you are, and I'm going to bring the camera a little bit closer, because if you guys are on a mobile phone, you might be hating me right now. And most of you guys are watching this on mobile. So let's grab my fancy dancy pointer, and literally you're going to be looking at this and go 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to be doing a double crochet, which all that means is you're yarn over 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you're going to insert the hook, pull up 1, pull up 2, pull up 2. So this will count as our first double crochet. This will count as our second. Let me snap at my dog so she doesn't start barking. And then we're going to keep going across now with these fun clusters. So let's start. And I am going to keep referencing that pattern so you guys can learn to read diagrams with me. We're going to zoom in so it's easier for you to see. Now it's telling us, I'll go ahead and count for you, in the 5th chain, we're going to work 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets. And you're going to do that every 5 chains all the way across until we get here, and we're going to do 2 on the end. So I know that's a lot to take in, but great news is I've already gone through the hard work of learning it, so I'll walk you guys through it now. Where did my fancy pointer go? Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're just going to go right into there, and we're going to work that stitch. She's probably barking at cats. No, it's actually windy over here, and so there's some stuff that's moving on the patio, and she keeps thinking it's somebody outside trying to say hi. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I get it. She's doing her job. She's trying to defend me against the big bad wind. Alright, so we're going to do 1, 2, chain 1, and 2 more double crochets. So yarn over, pull up 1, pull up 2, pull up 2. If you're new to double crochets, I will try my best to keep reminding myself to slow down. I do also have a double crochet tutorial on YouTube, and it breaks it down. Like, it'll even show you how to use the different loops to get different looks for that stitch. So, and double crochet is a really good one because a lot of patterns use it. Same with single crochet. Alright, so now we're just going to skip another 5. Well, we're skipping 4 and going into the 5th. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets. Chain 1, 2 double crochets. So Lorraine, you don't work today? I know you're usually working in the background, or are you being bad and you're learning while you're working? I'm like self-employed, so I'm always working, which means I don't think I ever am not like doing 5 things at once. Alright, let's skip another 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And, whoa, 1, 2, 3, 4, and go into the 5th one. 1. Welcome, welcome. I see a few viewers that just jumped on. If you guys have missed the beginning, we're just doing multiples of 5. And then you are doing a double crochet into the 4th chain, and then you're working these clusters in every 5th. And I will be starting a second version of this cat stitch. We are working on the cat stitch right here. I will be starting a second version as well, so you want to stick around because you're not going to miss that either. And 2, and I think we're getting onto the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so you should have 6 chains left. What we're going to do is we're going to keep our border going. So we have 2 double crochets here. We're going to want 2 double crochets, 1 here and 1 here. And then you're going to chain 3 and turn. So we'll do that together. Yarn over. If you guys have any questions at all, throw it in the chat, please, because I really want to make sure you guys walk away getting this all figured out. I set my manta rays aside. Your manta rays? What is that? Another double crochet in the end, and then we're going to chain 3 and turn. Did I say chain 3? No, we're supposed to chain 2. See? And here's me double checking. I'll show you guys how I noticed I was wrong. 1, 2. Those circles are chains, so we're going to chain 2. I'm going to back that one out. Perfect. 2 chains. All right, so now we're doing our second row. We just chained 2, we turned. We're going to work a double crochet into that one, and then we're going to start working those clusters all the way across. And this is row 2 of that color. As you can see, we're going to change colors right here. So we're going to go up until the end and then work 2 double crochets. I know that's a lot to take in, but I want to use the pattern so you guys see how to read diagrams and understand what's going on. And I will definitely slowly walk you through it because I'm not going to leave you just stranded. So we just chain 2 and we're going to turn. Da, 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 da. Okay. Second row, same color, second verse, same as the first. I don't know, I had too much coffee today, guys. I'm sorry. All right, double crochet into that top one. One thing I love about this pattern, it will force you to keep your edges nice and straight. So if you guys struggle with edges, you will love this stitch. So we're not going into here because our 2 chains counts as the first double crochet. We're going to go into that one. So pop that double crochet right in there. And then we're going to work our 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets into that same spot right there. The chain 1 space is what it would be called. So if you were reading this in a pattern, it would say to work 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets into next chain 1 space. So chain 1, go back in, 2 more double crochets. If I go too fast or anyone needs to revisit any of this, please let me know. I've got tons of yarn to the left of me. I can totally demonstrate it again, but trust me, we're going to be going and we're going to be doing it twice, so you guys should get the hang of it. Into the next chain 1 space. We're going straight over. There's a lot you're skipping, but that's kind of the point. 2 double crochets. 1 and 2, chain 1 and 2 double crochets. These first 2 rows don't really create any cats. It's the next color that you're going to start seeing the cats come through. So do that last one, 2 double crochets. I see some more people joining. Don't worry, we are going to start all over and do a second swatch of this cat stitch in a few because I have a different method to try. But if you are familiar, go ahead and jump in and stitch with us. Get hooked, guys. All right, so 2, 1, 2, and we are at the end. Now what? We're just going to do those 2 double crochets. One of them is going to be right over the stitch, and the last one's going to be on that top chain, which I will tell you can be a little bit tricky to fish your hook into, so be patient. It is okay. And if you notice that is an issue, start chaining to a little bit looser, and it will help. I always grab the first, and then I'll come back and let my hook, well, sometimes it works. Today, of course, it's not going to because it knows I'm live. I usually can just have my hook grab that bump and pull it aside, and then I can get those 2 right in there as such. I told you guys, it's going to be a tight one on that last stitch, so be patient with yourselves and just grab that spot and work that second double crochet. Ooh, don't do what I do. Back out. So here's how I change colors. You would normally pull through that if it was a full double crochet, but I want to pull through with color B is how they would say it on a pattern. So we're going to go ahead and cut. And then we're going to join our next color. What color do I want to do? I haven't tried this variegated one in the cat stitch yet. So we're going to go with, I'm going with this nice little, we're going full on Easter mode. I guess it's fitting for spring, but let me get enough yarn out so it's not going to bug us while we stitch. And grab your color B, get enough slack, and we're going to connect it, and I'll show you how I do that. And the reason I do it the way I'm doing it is it helps create a good color switch that is a little more clean. Alright, I'm literally just going to put it there. I'm going to use my fingers on the back side of the project, and I'm going to pin it hold on, grab the yarn. I'm going to use this finger. I'm going to pin it to my project just like that. I'm just pinching it so I can start crocheting with it. I want to pull it through. The raw end is down here. The end that I'm feeding to my yarn ball is over here. So if you're new to that, hopefully that will help. Okay. Get all these out of the way. Okay, you guys get what it looks like. I'm moving this. Alright, so we pulled it through, and now we're going to chain 2. Some people are going to hate me for this. I'm going to tie these 2 in a knot. I know. Us crochet people, there's a big debate in the community on whether or not you should ever, ever, ever have any knots. That one's going to be loose. And this one's just going to pull it kind of snug, but you don't want to overly pull it because it will start cinching your project, and you don't want that. A lot of people out there believe you should not have knots in your project. I get super paranoid it's going to come loose. So you guys can totally hate on me in the comments. Do whatever you want. If you are like absolutely not, you don't have to tie the knot. There are people out there that really feel like that is a big no-no. Okay, chain 2 loosely, so we're not struggling as much, and we're going to turn. Okay, so now we are here on this red row. That's why you see the color changes, and you'll see that other color change up here. It's a little bit harder to see because they used a lighter color. This row is the one that keeps messing me up because I keep forgetting to do the drop downs. In fact, you'll see on this one, totally forgot that drop down right here. So we'll go slow and make sure we don't mess it up. I'm pro knot. Yeah, see, I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one. I'm not going to freak out too much about it. Chain 2, double crochet, and we're going to be doing a drop down cluster is what it is. It's a double crochet cluster. And there's 2 lines, so we know to do 2 of them. But I'm just going to forewarn you, we are technically adding a stitch. And I just want you guys to understand that as you learn to crochet, you want to learn to see those things. Because the whole time I was obsessing, how do I get rid of that stitch so I don't warp my project? And the only time it's going to really become an issue is if you end up doing another, like a row of single crochets on top or something like that as a border. If you don't account for that, you're going to end up warping your project and you don't want to. So for right now, just mental note, this is an extra stitch just to create the look. And we're not going to count it per se. And I know you're like, this isn't even going to matter when all is said and done. But in the next one, when we actually apply a border to it, it will. So we're going to do double crochet. Let me make sure my hook is turned right. We're skipping this one because our chain 2 counts as our first stitch. And we're going into this one right here. And double crochet. Da-da-da-da. All right. Drop down. So we are at the point where we are supposed to do our first drop down, and if I were using this, I would look and go, where do I drop down into? Oh no, my pointer got stuck under my little board here. Okay, you're going to drop down aiming for this spot right here, which looks, in real life, it's this spot that we're aiming for. So to do that, yarn over. We're going to go into that spot, grab the yarn on the back side, and you're going to pull up. Let yourself pull up a lot. You want to have a good amount of slack because you don't want it to pull your project tight like this. You want it to be long and tall. And then you're going to pull through just 2 loops. So you should be left with 2 loops on the hook. It's like an unfinished double crochet that is way down there. And then we're going to do that one more time. So yarn over. Go into that same spot, grab the yarn on the back side, whoop, I'm doing this through the camera and it's a little bit hard to see where I'm reaching, and pull that up. Again, allow this to really stretch up. Don't pull your yarn so tight that it won't create that very long loop. Pull through 2 loops. You should now have 3 on the hook. Okay, if you guys have something like that. Again, if you guys have any questions, throw it in there. I know it's a little bit early, but I'm going to be demonstrating it again. Yarn over and pull through the remaining 3. That finishes those double crochets. That's what makes it a double crochet cluster, is you're doing a few and then you finish them all at once. Cool. Now we're going to go back into the 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets, all in the chain 1 space. So if you were reading that, that's how it would be written. double crochet, double crochet, chain 1 and 2 more. And this is where I always forget, this is the cluster row, or the drop down row, so we've got to drop down again right into that bad boy. So yarn over, reach, give yourself plenty of slack, and stretch that stitch up. I almost said something totally different. YouTube's eventually going to get mad at me for that. Yarn over and pull through 2. You should have 2 loops on that hook. Yarn over again, and down we go. Back up that. Boom. Yarn over, pull through 2. And then yarn over and finish all of those at once. You're going to pull through all 3 loops. This is a really fuzzy yarn. I didn't realize it was going to be so fuzzy. It's actually making that a little bit difficult to see. But, I mean, this is also good for you guys to learn yarn. Fuzzy yarn, it does that. It's almost like a blur effect on your stitches, whereas other yarns, they tend to really define the stitch. Some people like that, some people don't, and if you're someone who's trying to create different looks, you're going to want to factor those things in. Into this chain 1 space, we're going back to the 2 double crochets, followed by a chain 1, followed by dropping your stitches. There we go, and 2 more double crochets. Alright, we're dropping down. Yarn over, go into that bottom gap right there, and pull up nice and tall. Yarn over, pull through 2. Go for a second time, and yarn over, pull up, and then pull through those 2. Yarn over, pull through all 3. Go back into that chain 1 space. Boom, boom, boom. I'm just going to show you. So yarn over, work 2 double crochets. Chain 1. Whoops, hold on. Chain 1 and 2 double crochets. Okay, this last drop down might be a little scary because this is all going to get tucked under it and it's going to be a pain in the butt, but promise me, just go with it and it'll all work out in the end. So pull up, yarn over. Oh my goodness, I'm doing the puff stitch version. Ah! Okay, cancel. Yarn over, go in there, and pull up. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Should have 2 on the hook. Yarn over, go down. Yarn over, pull up. Pull through 2 more loops. You should have 3. Let's finish our cluster. And let's go fishing. Okay, so this always gets a little bit tucked in there. You're going to want to just kind of pull that corner out so we can see our double crochets, because the last 2 double crochets you want to go on top of this stitch and into the top of that chain right there. So you should have 2 spots right there, and we already know that chain's going to be a little bit dicey to grab only because we saw that on the other row. I'm just making sure I'm going into the right space. So is that on top? Yes. Nope, that's on top. See? And we're going to do double crochet. And now grab that chain, and I clearly need a chain looser. But you're going to grab that. Try to grab the 2 loops if you can. If you absolutely can't, you can do 1. It's just going to make this edge a little bit looser. And depending on how your stitches are, you may or may not have an issue with that. So I'd recommend grabbing 2. Come up. And we're going to stick with this same color. So you can chain 2 loosely, Jen. And then we're going to turn. Alright, let's take a look at this pattern again. We are sticking 2 more rows with the same color. We've gone across. We've done our drop downs. We've gone here. We've chained 2. And now we're going to turn, double crochet, followed by clusters in each chain 1 space. And we're going to do 2 more rows of that before we change colors again. And this is where you're going to start seeing the cat, is when we get that next color coming in. So skip that one because our chains count as the first stitch. and go into the second one and work that double crochet. This is where we're not having to worry about that being an extra stitch because we go straight over into the chain one space. But again, when we do a border, that is when you've got to worry about that. But 2 double crochets, chain one, 2 double crochets. How you doing, Lorraine? Is this coming together all right for you? I hope you're excited. This looks so good. This stitch is really fun. We're going to skip all of this. I know it seems like a lot, but work that cluster into that next chain one space. 2 double crochets. Chain one and 2 more. And same thing, reach for that next cluster, just skip it all, and we're doing 2 here. Chain one, 2 more. Alright, and we want those 2 last double crochets to go here and here to keep our border consistent. Pull up. Whoops, I split my yarn. And 2 and 2. It's not complicated like I thought. A lot of stitches aren't. I tell people all the time, like, every pattern out there is usually a combination of double crochets, single crochets, half doubles. So once you know the basics, you really can start venturing. 1, 2, so chain 2 loosely. I'm reminding myself and I'm reminding you. And we're going to do 1 more row exactly the same. Exactly the same. Skip that first one because we already have our double crochet here. And we're going into that second one. Double crochet. Into our chain one space. 2 double crochets, chain one. 2 double crochets. For funsies, go ahead and drop the yarn a few times just so you can be like me. We all do it. And we're going to do that across, and then we're going to change colors again. And if you don't see the cat by then, we're going to cry. But you won't. You will. You'll see the cat. I go and show my husband. I was like, look at what we're going to work on tomorrow. And I'm showing him the cat stitches that I created. And he looked at it, and he's like, yeah, it's pretty. I'm like, you don't see it? And he's like, see what? And, oh, man. He's like, oh, yeah, I don't see a cat. So then I had to show him the images online, and I was so sad because I'm like, that's not the same. You're supposed to see it on my little swatch. Like, see the little cat. I'm out of yarn, so let me grab some more. It was really disappointing, though. Oh, I probably didn't need that much yarn. We're already at the end over here. Alright, 2 last double crochets. Don't pull through on the very last though, because we are going to be switching colors and you want to pull through with what would be color C now. Or if you guys are only working with 2 colors, just go right back to color A. I'm going to pull through with another color. So you should have 2 loops on the hook. And again, here's how I change colors. I find my scissors that I lost. There's cat heads in blue there. Oh yeah, there is. I just don't really feel like that counts until you get the little feet in there. I don't know why. Way for me to trump my own wins there, I guess. Let's see here. I'm going to throw in this green because I like it. This is the green that, Lorraine, I don't remember if you remember last week's class, the one that kept getting tangled on me. Immediately after class, I untangled it. And then I wound it all up into a nice yarn ball because I refused to have that happen again. That was an monstrosity. It was terrible. All right. Here we go. Whoa. Oh no. Okay. Hopefully this is enough contrast for you guys through the camera. Okay, so again, I'm taking the cut part of my yarn, I'm pulling that down. and I'm bringing it on the back side of my project. This is how I change colors. I grab the yarn as if I were crocheting, and I'll pinch, trying to show this, I'll pinch the yarn between my project here so I can easily start crocheting with it, and it's not gonna feel like it's coming out. So we're gonna chain 2 because we're gonna chain 2 and turn. But if you do not believe in knots, ignore this part. Do not hate me for tying knots. If you are a knot person, now's a good time to tie a loose knot here, followed by a second one. I love untangling yarn. It's my superpower. You know, I've gotten a really good talent for it, especially since I do a lot of yard sale crochet finds. Like, I'll go and find the yarn that nobody wants and create stuff with it. I use it for class all the time. It's perfect. It's chains, like your necklace chains. Those are, I can't. No. The links mess it all up. It's not the same. My husband has to do that. I refuse. Alright guys, chain 2 and turn. So yeah, if you tangle up a chain or necklace or whatever, do not talk to me. It is not the same as yarn. I will not be able to help you. Alright, this is that first row that has the drop downs again. I'm only reminding you so you don't do what I did like 500 times yesterday when I was practicing this. So we're right back. Whoops, nope, we actually ended up on this side. And it's a little harder to see because it's violet on this dumb image. Let me angle it. There we go. And you got 1, 2 here, and then we've got the clusters, and we're dropping down to the second red row. That's how you're reading that, dropping down to the second red row. Time for me to walk us all through it, and I don't think I'll need that image anymore. Yarn over, and we're double crocheting right in there. And here we go with the drop downs, guys, and second row of color B. So we're going right in to that space right there. Yarn over, insert hook, yarn over, pull up long. So allow that to really get tall. Then you're going to yarn over and pull up the 2. You should still have 2 loops on the hook. You did not pull up that last one. Yarn over, and we go back. Yarn over, grab it from the back, and pull up tall. Go ahead and pull through 2 loops again. So this was the original loop we started with. This is the unfinished one from the first double crochet, unfinished one from the second double crochet. They're 2 unfinished double crochets, and then you're going to yarn over and pull through all 3. That's how you do a double crochet cluster. I think it's also called like a popcorn stitch or something like that, but popcorn stitch and a puff stitch are so similar that it really confuses me. Standing double, no, not how I know it. A standing double is usually if you wanted to join. This is actually a really good question, Lorraine, because if you know how to do a standing double, it's another way you can join yarn. Let's say, we're just going to stretch this out, and let's say I wanted to join yarn. This is great for granny squares. I can create a slip knot, and then I don't have to slip stitch and then chain 3 and then double crochet. I can go right into a double crochet by just holding that. You'll hold it so the yarn doesn't turn, because if you don't hold it, then you're just undoing that yarn over. But you can yarn over, and you can insert your hook in a stitch, and then you can pull up, oh no, here we go, hold on, pull up 1, pull up 2, and pull up another, now that you have not let that twist, and that becomes your freestanding double, and then you could keep going across, and that is another way to join without having to add in a bunch of other stuff. So this is what a standing double would look like. I use that a lot when I'm doing granny squares, when you're color changing, because it can be a nice way to not create the extra slip stitch, chain 3, and then start double crocheting. While that's a great strategy and it works, it creates some extra bulk, and if you're someone who's like really trying to make your stuff look more professional, standing doubles are great for that. Going right back into our cluster, guys. Great question though, Lorraine. Please feel free to keep asking questions. I love helping you guys all figure that out, because crochet should be fun and not difficult, and we already know with frogging and yarn tangling that it can get difficult enough. All right, we're going to do those drop down doubles all the way down into that spot right there. Again, this is just an unfinished double right there. And another unfinished tall double right there. And then boom, back into our cluster. And I did not realize how much I have not been drinking my water because my throat's getting a little dry. Hydrate, guys, if you haven't. All right. And see, now you guys should be seeing that cat come through. So this is the full cat. You've got the paws. It looks like the cat's kind of like on top over the ledge is what it looks like it's doing. You've got the body, and then that other row creates the ears. If you keep going, this is the row you want to typically end on. I see everyone do this row last. Let's see. 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets. Drop down. Boop boop doo. And drop down again. And now let's finish those. And we're going to do that. Now this is where I always forget to do that last drop down, so don't forget, we got to do one more drop down all the way down here, and you might feel this wanting to get hidden again into those stitches. That is okay. If it happens, just know you can fish it out afterwards. It's not going to break you. Boom, but get those last 2 double crochets in there. There you go. And you see? And then you would do 2 more rows of the regular cluster and keep going. And then you would just adjust colors every 3 rows. So let's go ahead and finish this cat. Then I'll add 1 more color and I'll show you how I do a border on top. And then I'll go back and show you how I would start with a row of single crochets if you wanted to. So let's say you want to do this like as a blanket. You guys may not want to leave all of this. This might be like a really yucky way to start a blanket. You may want to have it a little more finished with something thicker. I guess I shouldn't be flipping you guys off. Something a little bit thicker like this. And then you could do a border and do a row of single crochets. But if you plan well, you don't have to. But I'll show you guys how I did that. So let's go ahead and work through 2 more rows of this cat stitch. Let's finish this cat. So we got a full one. Hold on, 1, 2, and we got cluster time. Cluster time. So 2, 1, 2 in the chain 1 space. That green yarn just really wants to tangle up on me. I don't know why. It's not even one that should be prone to that. Alright, jump on over. Chain 1. And then let's do our last cluster, and then we got 1 more row, and then we'll do the top, and I'll show you how to do a row of single crochets on top of it, which the only thing you've got to do is make sure you don't accidentally count that other stitch. Lorraine, do you have a project that you want to use this cat stitch on? Like, are you going to do a blanket for somebody or something like that, or maybe even yourself? Maybe you're going to be selfish and just keep all your good stuff. Love to know. I've seen it in scarves. Scarves would be cute too, because you know everybody knows a crazy cat lady. Let's do 1 more. Chain 2 loosely, guys. Remember, it makes it so much easier if you keep that chain 2 loose before you turn. But look at those edges. I love that this stitch is real easy to keep clean edges. I know that's something that a lot of people struggle with, especially beginners. So don't forget, we're not going into that first stitch because our chain 2 counts as our first double crochet. And then go right into those clusters. Alright, let's do 2 more and then we'll change colors. I think I'm going to do a gray on top to show you guys how I add single crochets on top. Chain 1. I was going to do 2 swatches, but I look like I did better at explaining and slowing myself down, so I will instead just show you how to finish it and then how to start the other one. And that way you guys can play around with that. Otherwise, we'll be here for hours, because I'm probably going to go live on TikTok after this and start crocheting again for another couple hours. I got projects to finish. I got too much to do. I'm not a cat person either, but my daughter wants a blanket. Oh, nice! How old's your daughter? And what colors are you thinking about doing? Some pinks would be really dope, or even some purples would look good. I don't know. I also saw this with a variety of browns, and I thought it was super pretty. Again, I have to figure out how to make this a dog stitch or see if anyone else has, because I'm the crazy dog person. Oop, don't pull through that last one. We're going to be switching colors, so back that out if you did what I did. Muscle memory took over. Alright, I'm going to add one more color. We're going to do 1 row, and then I'll show you how to add the single crochets. So we're going to cut this. Oh, I also have to show you guys how to fasten off. Definitely don't want to skip that. Can't have any lazy crocheters out there not fastening their ends in. I saw a meme the other day and someone was talking about how you guys may hate me for saying this, but your project's not done until your weaves are ended in. And I have so many projects sitting under my desk right now that are just waiting for me to finally weave in the ends. Sad fact. I don't like to admit it, but I know I'm not alone out there. Especially when I get on these like scrap yarn projects. That's when I am the worst at it. Okay, again, if you guys weren't with me when we were changing colors, we cut it. I'm pinching it on the back side right there. That's enough tension where I can at least pull through and start stitching. We need our chain 2 and turn. If you don't like knots in your project, look away. Don't look at me right now. Don't look at me. If you like knots in your project or you don't mind it and you like the added security, just make sure that first one is nice and loose so you don't accidentally create a dimple in your project. You don't want to tie this super super tight. You will end up like warping your edge. And then that second one can be a little bit tighter. It doesn't need to go crazy. We're not doing any surgery stitches here. And then you're going to turn. She's 30 and she can crochet herself. Good! She should join. I mean, make her the blanket, but definitely tell her to join. What's her project of choice? Okay, so we are going to do this top row. This top row is always going to end on the drop down stitch. And then we're going to do a row of single crochets on top. I'll show you guys how to do that. So, drop down. If you guys didn't see that earlier, because I know people are kind of in and out of here as we go, we're aiming for the second row of the previous color. And we're going to pull up and pull through 2. Yarn over. Reach down, yarn over, pull up, stretch it out, pull through 2, finish that cluster, and now we're going into our 2 1-2s. And 2. Something's telling me we might have actually had this conversation, Lorraine. Does she do plushies or something? I don't know. I feel like I've been talking to so many people lately that all of the conversations are kind of blurring. I've also been going a million miles a minute all week, so that might be part of it. Got that drop down right there. Pull through. Lots of amigurumis. Yes, we did have that talk. I just did that owl one, and I need to do another one because my son and I were watching the How to Train a Dragon series, and then I just randomly got on Pinterest. I was like, I wonder if they have a pattern for this little character dude, the toothless guy. And oh my goodness, they do. Do they? They have like so many. So I have a funny feeling I just inadvertently created like a 10 project list, and I vowed never to do amigurumi because it is stressful to me. And now I am. I love how that works. We're on our last 2 1-2. Last drop down. Pull up. Be generous when you pull up. gonna go through all 3. If you guys did what I did, start fishing those out. And then 2 double crochets. You don't need to fasten off because I'm gonna show you guys how I did the row of single crochets on top. I really want to make sure you guys understand so you do not end up warping your projects, because technically speaking, on the stitch count when it comes to this pattern, these drop downs are extra stitches. We do not want to stitch into them. So we're doing a row of single crochets. If you guys are not familiar with turning chains, typically there is a correlation between the stitch you're about to do and the amount of chains that you stitch. Double crochets, you're usually going to chain 2 or chain 3 depending on the project. Triple crochets, you're going to do 3 or 4. Half double crochets are usually 1 or 2. You'll just start memorizing it and you'll start getting the hang of it when you start working with different patterns. But for single crochet, it's almost always chain 1 and turn. So, if we're doing a nice little border, the chain 1 usually counts as your first single crochet. I did not do that in mine. I think I made the extra stitch. I did, because I didn't want it to be too rounded. So, it does not count as a stitch this time. That's what that means. So, we are going to single crochet into the first stitch and into the second double crochet, just like our 2 border stitches, no different there. Just doing a different type. This is not a stitch. This is what I want you guys to see. Do not, I repeat, do not crochet into that. We are going to skip and start working 5 single crochets per cluster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because remember, at the beginning we did rows or multiples of 5, so that all factors in. So 1, 2, we're just on top of those double crochets. Third one goes in the chain 1 space, and then here, and then here. Okay, again, we do not count this as a stitch. It will add an extra stitch if you do that, and you will start noticing your last row do that, and we don't want to warp it. We want it to be all straight and consistent. So again, you're going to skip that one and do our 5 into this cluster. Don't forget that chain 1 space. Boom. And 5. Skip. Whoa. There you go. 1, 2, into that chain 1 space for 3, 4, and 5. My dog is super stretching on the carpet right now. It's so funny. Skip that one. Go into the last 2 stitches with 2 single crochets. This is when, if you were making a blanket or whatever, you now have yourself a nice border going across the top. And you can fasten off. Holy cow, it just started pouring here. So, if you guys hear that, I apologize. I don't know how sensitive these mics are. And I still need to get myself a good noise cancellation mic. That is on my list when I start making some money. Alright, so then you would just fasten off and do that. Now, Lorraine, when you start your blanket, you're going to want to do foundation single crochets. And I believe the count, we're going to do 1 row just to double check. I believe the count is multiples of 5 plus 3. I know, I'm asking people to do math, and I already know what that was like when I was in grade school, is like pulling teeth. So I apologize, but there's a little bit of math when it comes to it. But let's go ahead and double check that math real quick. Let's pretend you and I were starting that project with a blanket. And we wanted to have a nice row of single crochets here just to make it thicker on the base, instead of you having a blanket that, I mean, you can go back through and do a border around like this, and you could obviously single crochet into those, but in case you want to kind of set yourself up for success and do it right off the get-go, slip knot, and we're going to do single crochet. So these are foundation single crochets. I've seen this done a lot of ways. Some people will actually incorporate the tail. I don't like that way. I just don't. I feel like I never know how to predict how long to make it. So I'm going to show you how I do it, and I like the tension that mine has. So I'll chain 2. I insert the hook into the bump, just like that. I'm going to pull up 1, just like you would a single crochet. The only difference is math and crochet kind of go together. They really do, especially when you look at circles, triangles, and other things, because it's mathematic how you increase and decrease. You're going to now add a chain, and then you're going to finish your single crochet. So we're going to go back into this. You're grabbing the 2 on that bottom. Yarn over, pull up 1 to start the single crochet. Add a chain in there. Finish the single crochet. Okay, that was 2. Again, we want to do multiples of 5 plus 3. So let's do a few of these. You're going to see a chain, like a chain of single crochets be created. All these foundation chains are doing is you're chaining along with the stitch. And it's a great way to create a base row that stretches with the same consistency as the rest of your project. A lot of times, if you guys have done crochet for a while, most projects you start with a chain of stitches, you go back and you do a row of stitches, and then you'll start the pattern. But that chain always feels like it's a little rigid. When you're stretching the rest of the project, the chain always has like a spot where it stops stretching, and you can tell. I don't know why it bugs me the way it does. Most people are like, oh yeah, well that's crochet. It's supposed to be like that. And you're right. That is crochet. People have been crocheting that way for years, but it bugs me. It bugs me, and I like the foundation stitches because when you finish the project, the whole thing stretches consistently, and it just feels a little bit better. So I feel like it levels up your crochet game to do these foundation stitches, and you can do them with any stitch to my knowledge. You can do them with double crochets. I've done that for all my scarves that have double crochets in it. I will always do foundation stitches. I will never chain if I can avoid it. And then same with your half double crochets, and I can assume your trebles and whatnot are all the same. I haven't tried it with things like puff stitches and whatnot. I can imagine there's a way to. So what we would do, I'm going to do a small section, is if you're doing this version, we don't need to go through the full thing, but I said multiples of 5 plus 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. We'll do 2 more for 17 and 18. Hopefully I got it right. Last time I ended up being off by 1, and that one I only added 2. So multiples of 5, 15, plus 3, 18. And now we need to create that first double crochet, so chain 2 and turn. And then we would be doing the same thing with the border, which is skipping that one and going in here. So we're not doing anything different, except we created a more base row. So we're still going to do the 2 double crochets, cluster, 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 2 double crochets. Although I think I don't have enough for 3 clusters. I think I only have enough for 2. So yarn over, go into that second stitch, and work that double crochet. And then you would 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You would still be counting 5. Hold on, I dropped that, and I want to yarn over first. I just wanted to get my fingers on there. And then doing the 2, 1, 2. One and 2. And then you do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're going into the 5th, so you're skipping 4 and going into the 5th. 2, 1, 2. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I did the math right. We're going into the last 2 with 2 more double crochets. So yes, the math is, if you're doing the foundation single crochets, you want to be doing multiples of 5 plus 3. Did that work for you, Lorraine? Hopefully that'll set you up for success on a good blanket by doing this method, because you'll have yourself a nice row. And if you want to do a border on top of that, what I love about the foundation is, look, that all looks like real stitches. You don't have to sit there and worry about whether or not you're grabbing the rest of the chain or all of the chain or whatnot. You can just go into these as if you were going into the top of normal stitches. So it makes everything so much easier to work with, especially if you ended up doing like granny squares or something like that and you had to sew them together. It's all consistent. It's not different because it's a chain. I know that sometimes that can happen. Alright, I'll show you guys how I go ahead and weave in ends, just in case you guys have never done that before. I'll show you my technique, and then I will send you on your way to go work on your own happy projects. If you guys have never fastened in ends, I've already gone over why most people end up not doing it, because it is really boring and it is tedious and it is not the most fun part of the project, but it is the part of the project that really makes everything look finessed. I use a yarn needle. I have yet to get wool needles. I am going to get them though, because they look really appealing for everything I do. And I am going to try to aim to weave in this yarn with the corresponding color. It looks really good. Aw, I hope yours does too. I'm so happy that you gave me this idea. I love that I made a class that was inspired by one of my students. So, by all means, if any of you guys have other requests that you guys want to learn for next week's class, let me know. I have not planned it yet. So, yeah, if there's anything else you guys are like, hey, let's try that. I'm game. Let's do it. So, I'm going to try to aim the blue yarn to be with the other blue yarn. And I just try to aim for getting it into what is consistent with other stitches. Holy nightmare, it is coming down. I didn't know that much rain was going to be on the forecast. And then I like to try to go back and forth, but if you go back and forth, just because I want to zigzag and create the tension, don't go back into the same spot that you did. You want to try to find a little bit of a new spot, just so it doesn't undo what you just did. And again, I'm just trying to pop out through. Oh, see, right in between the yarn. I'm trying to keep it consistent with where the texture of the stitches is. And then that just happened. Holy man, it's coming down. So here I'm going to go back, but I wanted to loop into another spot. I'll go back one more time just to really make sure it's snug. For any of those paranoid stitchers out there, you are not the only one. But there you go. And then you would just be able to cut it because it's been tied and it's been woven in. That sucker's not going nowhere. And so you just want to keep doing this. I'm not going to do all of these because, first off, I'm pretty sure no one wants to see that. Uh-oh. Ta! Alright, well, I dropped my yarn needle. I'll fish for that later. Let's pull out another one. Let's see, I did the green, so let's show you where the gray would go, just so you can really see how I try to keep similar colors with light colors. Bam! This one might be a little bit more difficult because I have less to work with, but you can make your way over to that other cluster, and that'll allow you to get it into an area where you have more yarn to grab and go back and forth on. I like to aim for where all the stitches come together like that. I just feel like it's like a real bonus spot to really like weave in your ends because it will cover very well. So I aim for those sections often because there's a lot of space. It's already wrapping around a lot of stitches, so there's a lot of space to just go straight through it. If you are going back and forth, don't pull too hard. You just want to pull until you see that little bit go away. If you pull too hard, you're gonna see how it starts pulling my project and cinching it, and if that is you and you're like, oh wow, I've been doing that, just give it a little tug, stretch it back out, and then again, I don't want to go back in where my yarn is from. I don't want to do that. Boo-boo. Don't do it. I'm going to at least skip a thing of yarn so I don't undo what I just did, but I want to go back and forth a few times. Don't pull too tight. See how I just pull until it disappears? And then you can cut those and you will be good. Woo woo! Guys, that is the cat stitch. And see how, look, the edges are so straight. It's so great. This is a good one. This is also the one where I forgot that drop down. So let's just pretend that the look looks good. And look at that. That's amazing. We all make mistakes, guys. I'm all about it. It's going to happen. We're human. So it is what it is. That is the cat stitch. Guys, this is awesome. We are pretty wrapped up. You guys are going to keep stitching because hopefully, Lorraine, you're going to end up doing that blanket. We had rain and wind yesterday. Oh, you're in Oregon? Yeah, you guys get a lot of rain. I love Oregon, though. It's very pretty. It's very pretty. It was one of the places we were debating moving. I'm in California, so you guys are probably going to get our rain. It's heading your way. You're welcome. It's all coming. I'm sending it your way. Either that or it's heading towards Nevada. I don't know. One of the two. But, okay. Next week, we have another class. Thursday at 2. I have it scheduled at the same time. I don't know what's planned yet. I don't. So if you guys have any requests or things that you guys are working on and really wanted to learn, Lorraine picked this one. So guys, if you guys enjoyed today's class, go into the comments right now. Give a nice applause for Lorraine. She is awesome because she spoke up and gave us a great suggestion for today's class. And I think it worked out very well. Very well. So if you guys also want to learn something, please put it in the comments. Also, wish each other a happy stitching. This crochet community is very unique, and I have loved getting to know that there are other people out there that love stitching. I always thought that this was a lost art, and I love so much that it's not, and there's a million of you out there that want to learn it and want to nerd out with me. So please share it with other stitchers. Help me get it out there, guys. That's what helps me grow. Join me for next week. Turn on all your notifications, too, because I might start doing extra surprise lives coming in the next few weeks, and you're going to want to be in the know for that. Don't forget I'm also on TikTok, where I do a lot more of the behind-the-scenes side of my life. I go sporadically live on there, and you'll see the good, bad, and ugly. In fact, I'll probably go on there in a little bit just to finish working on some of my projects for the week. And otherwise, check out my Etsy shop. I have patterns. If you guys can see, I know it's on the little screen, but that scarf right there is about to be listed, and the pattern is almost done being tested. I found one last edit, and I think it's ready to start being posted. So stay on my Etsy shop. You guys will get in the know for that. Otherwise, I will see you next week. Wish each other happy stitching. Get hooked if you haven't already got hooked. Use that in my Etsy shop. The Get Hooked is a discount code. GETHOOKED. All one word. It will get you 10% off of either my patterns or my scarves. They are all available. Otherwise, I'll see you online somewhere, guys. TikTok or next week here. Same time, same place. Take care. I love you guys. Keep stitching. It's been real. Thank you so much for spending time with me. Take care. Lorraine, it was always fun to see you. I'm so glad you got to join. Hopefully, send me pictures of the blanket when you finish it. I really want to see it. You can email them to me, or you can message me on TikTok or the other platforms. I'm on Facebook and Instagram too. But please, I get so excited and giddy when I see my students' projects. I know Jen sent me her shawl, which is from one of my first classes. If you guys haven't checked that out, it's in the playlist. The Get Hooked one. All the links are in the description. I will see you guys next week. I love you guys. Take care. I'll see you.